2 years later, okay, let me read it from King James so that we can be on the same page. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kings and fat flesh. He's talking about cows, 7 big cows. And they fed in the meadow. And behold, 7 other cows came up after them out of the river, very tiny, very slim, and ill-favored, and stood by the other fat cows at the brink of the river. And the slim, tiny cows swallowed or ate up the 7 well-favored cows. So Pharaoh woke up. And he slept and dreamed the second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good, and behold, 17 ears had blasted with the east. What he's trying to say, King James can try to confuse you sometimes, that there's these 7 other well-bred corn that came out, and there's this other 7 not well-bred, not good-looking plants that came up and eat the 7 good ones. That's what he's trying to say. And it came to pass, and so Pharaoh woke up again, and behold, it was a dream. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for. See, one of the things you will look out for this year when you pray is that situations will arise. The helpers of your destiny they're so going to find yourself in a situation that keep them restless, except they become favorable unto you. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. This year, those who are in a position to help you are going to be so restless. They will know no peace. It's a decree and a prophetic declaration I'm making. They will know no peace except you have peace. Say the amen like you mean it. They will not rest except they are of help to you. Who suppose marry who? No go get peace of mind until they marry the person. You don't get it. Pastor Jen went to that altar in Shiloh, say, if he's engaged, do what? Disengage him. Bring him wherever he is. And as soon as she said that, I began to have a problem with my previous relationship. By the orchestration of heaven, angels will move so mightily on your behalf this year, causing things to fall in place so that you will be blessed. Somebody would decide just to throw a party. You know why? Not because he wants to throw a party, but because you need a 200,000 from your cake business. So I don't know if you get what I'm saying. He would just say, I want to. No, yeah, I've seen it happen one time. One movie marketer came to my friend, his studio, and said, let me give you an example, because if I may call the song, you will not know it. Let me just say maybe, this is that day, right? He comes and said, I want you to produce This Is That Day. It's ridiculous. It's a song everybody knows. That they sing in church every day. He said, just produce it. He is not an artist. He doesn't care to sell it. He doesn't care to do nothing with it. Just produce it so that he can be playing it in his car. And he paid the money. There's a man that comes to this studio here. Every day he's coming to record. Every day. He's working in an NMPC or something. Every day he comes to record. Has never released, since I came to this town, he's recorded. Has never released the album. So what my friend does is that, if my friend is even tired of doing his song, he will record this song today and hear it tomorrow and say he doesn't like it, change the bass line. That's all he keeps doing. So we keep asking, when will your song come out? When will it come out? So what my friend does now is that anytime he needs money, all he needs to do is call the guy and say, there is free session. The guy will just appear. When my guy is not in the time mood to work, he will just tell. But anytime he needs money, he will tell me, say, Reverend, if I just call this man now, you go and say, call him. You say, Oga, he will call and say, there's chance. There's chance he will land the next minute. And I said, that's what's going to happen to you this year. You didn't shout a better amen. Steady cash flow coming. Not because you need it. They will release it because you need it. Those who believe it will work for them. They wouldn't know what they are doing. Pharaoh had to dream that dream because there is a Joseph that his time has arrived to be showcased, to be enthroned. Joseph have prayed and prayed. Now, anybody could have dreamed that dream. No, God needed to give it to the person that would do something about Joseph's destiny. God did not give the dream to Potiphar. The Bible says even when the baker, it wasn't the baker now, the wine, even when the wine guy left the prison, he forgot all about Joseph. But because it is time, he remembered. He was at the right place at the right time to hear Pharaoh's dream and to let Pharaoh know that there is one person. And see, the way God perfects things. When Pharaoh had that dream, there's only one person that has the ability to interpret that dream. Only one person has the ability. All the magicians failed. Not that the magicians have not been interpreting dreams before now. They have been interpreting dreams before now. But that day, they lacked the ability to interpret. Something happened recently. I'll give you an example. My Mercedes had a problem. I woke up one morning and refused to start. I call, this is my co-in-law. I say, I beg, this motor no green start. Call somebody. He knows the number of the person who could do that car. But you know what? He first of all called one guy. I'm sure that guy has prayed, Father, give me the food for today. Oh Lord, don't forget me. He called one guy. The guy came. Do. You know if he do. The guy called another guy that have also prayed, God, feed me. The guy came, criminal. He just scattered the car. Tell me, say, no, they call who did. They send a key. They call who they do key. The who they do key come say, no be key. Say, Pastor, find me transport money. God has met his need for that day. He go. He can't call another person. That one come. Do. Now first, I now call another electrician. He come, do. Bring your own computer, something, put. He tell me, say, Pastor, find those where they work Mercedes. Give me transfer fare. I give and transfer fare. So this other guy, he come and do, say, you know they work. He can't call another person. Thief. That one now come. Shut down the car. Say this key. The same key that who do the key say no be key. Who do the key come check and say no be this key be the problem. Another person come say no the key. Spoil the key. Do the key. Collect 55,000. Ovo, remember when they talk to you, say I'm a family man. So that Christmas money for fowl and the children picking cloth, God has answered it. I say I don't want to cover that money, but he has prayed to God. Are you getting what I'm telling you? That money had to go because he don't know what he go tell the family. Eventually, the same from his same phone, from the same man where he knows since 1805, he can't call the man. The man can't come to collect his own share. These have all prayed to God, and God must answer their prayer for this season. He come, you know what he said? Why these people they waste time for here? This he enter under this thing. Come out. The same motor. In fact, that one will collect 55,000. Tell me, say, brain boss don't damage. Say, na brain boss. The guy enter inside the bus, inside the car, come out, confident. He said, Pastor, go inside. He said, go inside, go inside. Before I go inside, come out. The man don't start the car, turn the car. They steam the car, they wait for me. He said, they try to call, they reach. What am I trying to tell you? I say in this season, I mean, any other person could have had that dream. But because Joseph needs to be promoted, God did not give any other person that dream. He gave it to Pharaoh. And he made sure that the one who serves Pharaoh wine, who is acquainted with Joseph, is there to hear it. I prophesy over you. This year, based on what God has said, your steps will be ordered. Everything about you will be orchestrated by the Spirit of the Lord. You will see, people will be positioned in places where they need to recommend you. That's how come I say, oh, say, why didn't you give me this guy number first? You know him right from time. No, it's because there are people that needs to be blessed. There are some things that people are holding on to that do not belong to them. And he must leave them. He must leave them. Just like yesterday, my wife was telling me, he said, listen, that suit you wore yesterday is too small for you. I said, that was the last, he had to end with the year. Why? Because he needs to move to somebody. I pray for you. Whatever needs to be yours this year, which is in someone's custody, they don't even need it, but they are keeping it. And you have been trying to get it by the orchestrations of the angels this year and by the prophetic declaration, which have said you must be decorated and you must be enthroned. They are releasing it in the name of Jesus. Speedily. There are people that have cars they don't need. People that have money in their accounts they don't need. People that have clothing they don't need. Ink that you're no more wearing. Let's get your kingly robe that you're no more wearing. Let's get a horse that you're no more wearing. And let's give it to this man that you love, that have found delight, favor in you. So by extension, the king was about to make another king. The king was about to make another king. The king was about to make another king. It is the way of God. God said, let's now make man and give him dominion. God created this universe just for man. Created another kingdom just for man. He has his own kingdom already. The Bible says, for the heavens of the heavens belong to the Lord, but the earth has he given to the inhabitants of men. Someone's kingdom will finally be cut out for him or for her this year in the name of Jesus. There are people still making people. You have not come in contact with them, but this year you come in contact with them. Where we used to live in White House, there's a widow just close to where we are living. And was it a man? I don't know. Some man just met the widow, bought a land for her. The husband died. Bought a land for her. Built her a duplex. And built how many bedroom flats? 2 bedroom flats up and down beside it. We were talking about it the other day. At that time, my wife was talking about it. One of my co-in-law, Charles, was asking my wife, where do they see this kind of people? Say, Father, can you bring me in contact with them? I pray that prayer for you. That this year, the men you will come across. See, there is something about men. There is something about men. Samuel said to Saul, when you leave me now, you will come in contact with men. I just place an anointing for you to be king. But that anointing will not translate into anything except you meet men. When you leave now, you are going to meet men. Who am I talking to? This year, you will come in contact with men. Men who are source. Men who are source. You will just plug in and you will draw. You will just plug in and you will be refreshed. You will just plug in and you will be made. You will just plug in and you will be announced. You will now just plug in and your heart desire shall be granted. This year you shall meet men. I said this year you come in contact with men. Men that will change your life. Men that will introduce you. He said when you leave here you are going to meet three men. One have wine, one have bread, and all of that. And he said, you are going to also meet men again. He said, they are called the sons of prophets. I don't know who is getting what I'm saying. Saul was not a Levite. Saul was not a prophet. Saul does not have any of those graces. But Samuel said, you will come in contact with men that will change your atmosphere. The Bible says, and Saul was going and he saw a band of prophets. And suddenly the spirit of the prophets came upon Saul. And Saul began to prophesy. And men looked at Saul and said, is Saul now a prophet? Men will look at you this year and say, how is this possible? Is this guy now a millionaire? Is this lady now married? Is this guy a landlord now? Is this guy a car owner now? You will come in contact with those men. Who knows Lot? Except there was an Abraham. Who knows Lot? But coming in contact with Abraham announced Lot. I said this year. This year, one of the things God will do for you is to make you meet men. When I left my uncle, my father was long dead. My mother was not there. I left my uncle and after I finished my SSC. I came back. I had a challenge with my uncle and my uncle sent me away. Not that he sent me away, I ran away. I was telling my wife the other day, I said, it's not easy to live with somebody. It's not easy to stay in somebody's house. So I finished my SSC and I told my uncle I want to be married. And he said, why? SSC. I said, because I'm the only child of my parents. So I need to marry quick so I can born quick. My uncle said, okay. So you now marry after SSC. He said, listen, if it's in your destiny to die quick, just kukuma die. He said, no, be say you go come marry, born picking. You can't live and for us, you can't die. Who go they train them? So if it's not in your star that you live long, don't bother. Just live small and die. He's not going to hurry to marry for me because, no. So we had that quarrel. I left. When I went home, my uncle, because of that incident, said he won't have anything to do with me ever. He trained me primary, secondary school. But when I got home, somebody say, amen. I met people. I got into the church band. I met a sister in my village. The sister has just been, the sister knows a sister. This sister is a twin. She's a teacher. She's the head of ASU and EFAC. And she had a covenant with God. She was not going to marry. That she would just serve God with her life. So she was way older than us when I'm telling you. So the one that is my age mate, who is in the band, spoke to the one that I refused to marry, who is in our village church. And the lady got to know me and took me as her own son. And helped me to take GCE, paid for me to. Everybody in the village calls her I hope I'm going to bring her here one day, Sister Jane. Calls her my mother. She sent me, gave me money to do GCE. The girl that introduced me to her, her father was a rich person, but she also did go ASU. We all met in the band. Two of us, they now posted me in Owerri. I've never been to Owerri. Even though Owerri was the capital of my state, I've never been there before. So when our GCE came out there, money to go to school, I should go and learn mechanic. Then I walked away from her and saw another of my distant uncle. Say amen. Say after me, amen. And he told me, say, you don't need money first to get admission. You get admission first. Money will come out. Men who will tell you the right thing at the right time. The prayer I'm praying for you this year is not that prayer, but men. That you come in contact with men. So that's how I got to school. As I got admission. The woman, the sister Jen, helped me to enter school. But then, God knew she wouldn't have all the money to train me in school. So right there in school, I began to meet men. I came into the department. Everybody just liked me. Everybody said, we want you to be the class rep from year 1 to final year. You know what that meant? I wasn't going to buy textbook for 5 years. I wasn't going to fail any course for 5 years. I wasn't going to have problem with any lecturer for 5 years. While I was doing that, I got to know all the HODs. I got to know both the, what's it called? I went to a polytechnic, so I got to know the rector, the deputy rector. I got to know lecturers. I'll be singing in school. I met the right people. Listen, the first time I went to Port Harcourt, somebody took me there. I just walked into school and I joined a particular group. You heard the day, where is Mali? You heard the day, I'm gisting with those guys here. I just got to a particular group and the lady came and they were singing. They said I should sing. I sang my village voice. They all laughed me. I said, you're singing like a goat. I didn't know how to sing this much then. So the lady said, I'm going to take you to Port Harcourt for your 4 months IT. She took me to Port Harcourt. The leader got me a place where I was staying. There was television, AC, everything. Where she was staying wasn't that good. She got me a place to stay. Got me a church to work with. The church began to pay me. So I went to a place I've never been before. I was living more comfortable than she was. Somebody say amen. Men that will go out of their convenience to make sure you are convenient to this year. That's what I'm telling you. While I was in school, I will be in church like this singing. Lecturers will come and give me envelope. That's money. Men. The first song I ever recorded. Why are they walking up and down? Victor, I hope that call will translate into 50 million. When you come to church, off your phone. Put it in silence. Don't start like last year, like this year. The first song I ever recorded, please listen to this story, it's going to help you. A lecturer gave me the money. Lecturers, they give students money. Lecturer gave me the money. Lecturers invite me to their home. Villagers gave me foodstuffs. Listen, I wasn't, nobody was sent, nothing came from my family from year 1 to final. Nothing came from my family. If I don't used to travel because there's nothing to get. But I lived off campus for 5 years. People are living in hostel. I lived off, paying rent, 5 years. The money was coming from where I don't know. Villagers gave me food stocks. Everybody loved Chris. Have you watched that movie? Everybody loved this man. Students, I came in. There are some, I've told you about two ladies that will always travel from this Delta. Whatever they bring, food stuff, they must put my own. One day, one of them, the mother came to school that he wants to know who is this brother Paul. Giving them 2 pints of guy, they say, put brother Paul's. People changed my wardrobe in school. People used to come to school and ask me if I should borrow them money. And I'm looking at them, I know that they should be borrowing me money. If they knew where I was coming from. I told you how I snap photographs. People patronize it, not because I knew how to snap, just because God knew I needed those money. I wasted somebody's traditional wedding. Just imagine that your traditional marriage. Everything will snap you now. Show some of the places where you show your face is double. It's not now that you have digital camera. It's all those cameras used to focus that. So whether if you get it, if you don't get it. And I was snapping away because I wanted more pictures so that they can pay me more money. I was They would say post like this, post like everything. No one was good. Somebody's wedding. You are the official photographer. And you didn't snap one good photograph. Yet the lady came. Didn't scold me. Didn't quarrel with me. He said, give me all the pictures. None. Don't keep anyone away. Already, people have already gone to poison her mind and tell her before she came, I've messed up everything. He should have called them. The lady said, don't worry. He came in their presence. For thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemy, and there is nothing they can do about it. She came in their presence and called me. And said, bring out the picture. All of them, they were looking, waiting for me to be arrested. And she paid for everything. See, it's not because she needed the picture, but it's because the Son of Man needed to be taken care of. As I prophesy over you, this year you will meet men that will go out of their way. They will get in business with you. They will get in contract with you. They will get to do things with you. Not because they needed it, but they are doing it to favor you. Hallelujah. Have you ever seen somebody come to your shop and start buying things? Not because he needed it. He just want to buy things. You just be buying. He doesn't need any of them. You will experience it this year. I went to Lagos. How? Man. Never been to Lagos before. Someone took me to the Lagos there. Man. I got engaged while I was in Lagos in all those IT, 1 year IT jobs, and one it's amazing. You know, I came in contact with people who were in an a cappella group. They were redeemed people. And all these guys are older than me. There is nothing in me that they should know. But they just like me because, not because I can sing too much. They just like, one of them was most of them are abroad now. One was an air hostess. You know, big people. But they just want, why? Because there is an instruction that's been given in heaven that there's a man in heaven that needs to be helped. That man his name is Paul. The man needed to be helped. So God began to position people. As I learned how to drive, how? A lady saw me say, Paul, we stay in the same estate. Please come and go and get me something from the house. In church like this. He said, take the car key, go. I said, I don't know how to drive. He said, what? You don't know how to drive? Tomorrow you are going to start driving school. And get me money to start the driving school. Yeah, she had nothing to gain from me. Way more mature. Not be saying nothing. I was just a kid. This lady was already working in telecommunication. Matured person. But because I needed to be helped. Because God has said I must be helped. I needed money to go to school. God was just putting my life in order. This year, you have never experienced it before, right? This year, you will experience that grace. It will work. See, my life has been like that. Man. At every point, man. I became a gospel artist. How? Man. I went to the studio, paid to record my song. The guy that owns the studio just liked me. I finished school. I said, listen, Okoko, I'm coming to your place to stay in Enugu. He doesn't know me from anywhere. He said, come. While I came and stayed in his house, he was feeding me. Housing me. Taught me things that people pay to learn. Taught me for free. I became more close to him than brothers and friends that he had. There was nothing he would do, he would not tell me. One day I went to church and I was singing, leading in praise, just like you guys do here. And he doesn't usually go to church. When I started to go into that church, he told me, why are you going to church? It's only poor people. People don't have things that go to church. I say, hey, bro, that church don't bring me rich here. I must go to the church. So I went to the church one day. One day he just came. As I was singing, he was sitting back where he was and was chewing his nails. That's what he normally does. Once I finished and we got back to the house, he took me inside the studio and said, now the way you are singing those songs, I think we should put it in the tape. That's how the music career started. Recorded the full album. Sold his things to make the video. While I was in youth service, he was busy hustling, spreading the song, making sure. I don't know if, listen, let me tell you one thing that happened. One day, when eventually I've become, my name was everywhere, he became jealous. Because they have been doing these things before I came. Their own have never spread. And he doesn't even understand why he's investing in me when he can sing, when he has not invested in himself. He's a producer. So he say, Polo, I beg, be like we go post this your thing. Maybe I do my own small. He became jealous. That's to tell you, he was not doing all these things all this while with a clear eye. I tell you, men don't help you out of confidence. Men help you because God has prompted them to help you. This year, that will be your experience in the name of Jesus. Not because they wanted to do it, but God will make them do it. The guy was angry. So he took a particular song, fine song, and that he recorded. Even before I knew him, he went to a marketer to give it to the marketer. For the marketer to buy. Guess what? The marketer said to him, carry this song. They are watching the video and they say, carry this song. Give him Paul, make it sing. He go make more sense. He got angry. He got angry. Traveled to South Africa. Shot the video with South African whatever people. Came down. My own was shot in the village there, in the town, Enugu. He went to South Africa, shot his own, came back, produced it, and they couldn't sell up to 100 copy. 100 copy. But listen, when my own song came out that time, the first booking was 100,000. First booking. First 100,000. It didn't last up to 1 week. They were booking it back to back. They were paying the money up front. They don't do that. They only give you as they sell. But they were paying up front because of the demand. There was a grace on it that was spreading it everywhere. Let me even tell you, when the marketers that bought that song came, they didn't come for that song. They came for another song. And as they came for another song from Lagos to do another project, they walked in where God knows how to orchestrate this. They walked in where this guy was trying to edit, learning editing. He was learning editing. With that, my work, trying to edit it. We just pushed away some chairs. I used my own old suit. We anyhow video. We didn't prepare for the video. He was just testing camera. He was testing. They walked in and said, we like it. We like it. He said, but I never do. I said, don't worry, we'll like it. He said, I don't have money to finish. He said, don't worry, we'll pay you up front to finish it. They suspended the one they came for. See, this has been my experience in life. I prophesy over you. You can't give what you don't have. I prophesy over you. Men will suspend things to just for your sake. They will inconvenience themselves to make sure everything works for you. They may not be comfortable about it, but they will do it anyways. Why? Because grace has found you. Because heaven have decreed that you must be helped. Because. So that's how they suspended the other guy and they continue my project. By the time I came back from your youth service, my name was everywhere. I was everywhere. I didn't put one kobo, one shh. I only brought my voice. They turned it into something. Today, that thing in you, this year, that thing in you that he thought is nothing, God will put his light on it. And men will suddenly begin to demand for it. a grace man all my life. And that was why when the devil decided to attack me, he knew what he was attacking. Listen, as we are planning to do those things, one man came from South Africa, a Nigerian based in South Africa, came to meet my bishop, Bishop Obionobok, and said, listen, I'm looking for someone. I have a record company in South Africa, but I'm looking for someone who can help me manage that same record company in Nigeria. The name is Beyond Music Africa. So I'm going to open it in Aba. I'm looking for who will manage it. How is that a coincidence? The man meets my bishop, and my bishop says, I know just the right person. And the right person is Okok. Okok is the guy I'm dealing with. So he introduces the guy to the Okok. We are trying to shoot video. And you know, there's a way some people, you know, they can see far, but that time, what people were using to shoot video is all this JVC camera that they will now put all those gospel artists, all those musicians. In fact, there was no elaborate video. All those musicians, they wear, where that thing? That's what they take, they do wedding that time, where they know they wear again. Glove. They wear glove. They will face one mango tree. They will say, can I be allowed, Jesus? Can I? It will be, or they will face flower. Those are the kind of videos they used to do that time. Very, very funny. If you have ever seen that video, Lada, 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 or that song that Tim Godfrey sang, what's that song? Narana. Have you ever seen the original video? The original owner of that song? That lady that sang it in her hair. That's the kind of video you used to have that time. So, but the man now said, I'm bringing Canon D. All these big cameras for the first time. So I want to bring 3 of them, and I'm looking for who to give it to handle to use in Nigeria. And that was when we needed to shoot the song. And Okoko was giving everything for free to handle. That's why I tell you that sacrifices work. Learn it this year. Before this time, we were in a church. Okoko don't normally goes to church, but he came to church that day. And the man of God was preaching, and he was touched to give out his car. There's a car they call Bluebird. Don't know if you know Bluebird that time. Very AC, everything, he gave it out. And trek home. And we know this guy. The only thing that can make him give out, that's what I keep telling you, is also because God knows that there is someone else that needed to be helped. He gave it to that his friend. It was not, this is something he used to move around. He gave it. How do we know it was not normal? Because after 1 week he gave to it, he gave it, he started feeling bad, he gave it away. But he has given it, he has given it. Now he wants to go somewhere, and in his mind, when he give it to his friend, anytime he call his friend, he will be there, he will call his friend, he will say, no, I can't go, I want to take my mom somewhere. So he started feeling angry. I said, this year, they may not want to release it, but because it's your time, because it is due for your promotion, for your enthronement, for your decoration, they will release it anyways. But after he did that, to show you that God is not a liar, this same man from South Africa gave him an SUV. That's when this Forerunner came out. Forerunner, you know that Forerunner? That's when he came out first. Gave him an SUV, gave him those cameras, gave him to build the studio. That's how we shot those videos. With crane. That video was the first elaborate video to be done in the Nigerian music scene. This one I'm telling you was after Samuel Kposi. Jesus, I thank you. Well, I don't know if you ever saw that video. Because I was in Lagos when they shot that one. Why am I telling you all these stories? Men. See, I was in school when they have had all the elections for SUG. Those of you who are in school, you know how being SUG and all that. I was on my own. They finished the election, fight all the whatever they used to do, and they call me one day, say, come and be the deputy speaker of the house. I never contested. I never printed one poster. Who give me money to print poster? They say, come. Be the deputy speaker. That meant that school were paying me while I was in school. School were paying me 5,000 something In those, that was a lot of money. I also told you how the speaker, my speaker that time, they tried to overthrow him. And I was inside because they came and told me, although he was doing anyhow, they said, we'll remove him. You become the speaker. I said, okay. But the guy also understands politics. So he followed Chubo Kadibo style. The day we need to convene to remove him, he refused to call a meeting. Then he took the maze of the house and went to the security and deposited it. Without the maze, there can't be meeting. Without the meeting, there can't be impeachment. So it's like politically we became two rivals. Enemy, Abi? But not so. When a scholarship opportunity came out in that school, this same guy was the one that put my name for the scholarship. I said this year, they don't have to like you. See, don't try to make anybody like you. God will get them to do whatever he has designed for your life in the name of Jesus. He put my name there. And one of the criteria for those is that number one, you must be an orphan. Number two, you must know mass. And of course, you know my story that I didn't know mass. I didn't know mass. Anything pi, anything, I'm off. Once I hear pi, tangent, anything, what, it doesn't matter, I'm off. But I shall know how to calculate my money. So I went in there, they gave the whatever they gave, and I couldn't read it. I couldn't solve that area. So I did the ones I'm very good at, and I said, God, this scholarship is for orphans. And right here, I'm one of them. So I'm getting this scholarship. Listen, I left school when the result of that scholarship came out. This same guy who introduced me, he was reading banking and finance. So he knew maths, but he failed. Me that don't know maths, I passed. He was the one that called me to come and collect the scholarship. That time, 40,000 naira. Listen, I'm so sure this thing works. I will never tell you what doesn't work. I've experienced it all my life, and I keep experiencing it. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. So I'm excited when God said that this year you'll be decorated. I'm excited when God said this year you'll be enthroned. What that means, you know that one means? What it means is that someone will have to lose their throne. Or God is going to create a throne for you. It was because there was an Esther to be enthroned. That's why Queen Vashti disobeyed the king. Listen, this queen has been a queen before Esther came, and she knew the laws of the land, that when the king sent for you, you don't refuse. She knew it. So don't think she just made a mistake. No, she didn't just make a mistake. It was because God have decided to promote another. And it was because God have seen, if Esther was not the queen and Haman started his hatred, the Jews would have been eventually destroyed. So God saw many years ahead and removed that queen and put Esther in position before Haman will come with his plot. I said this year, God will orchestrate your path. God will orchestrate your step. You will be in the right place at the right time. You will step in the right place at the right time. Start after me, decoration. I have to round up. Today we mustn't close by 12, right? And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults these days. Pharaoh was wroth with his servant and put me inward in the captain. Please put up the scripture back there. And put verse 10, and put me inward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker, and we dreamed a dream in one night, and I rushed down. And it came to pass as verse 13, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me, I was restored into my office, and I mean the other guy you hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him how? Hastily, quickly. Kabayaba, quickly. Pharaoh said, bring. There was an urgency for the promotion of Joseph. Urgency. This year, they don't go price too much. Urgency. How much? They say 1 million. I beg just do it. They will not price too much. You're receiving it because you know your business. They will not price too much. You put in the contract, they will not ask plenty questions. Some contract you put in, they say, go and check his village, check his this thing. Does he have all the papers? No. They would have given you the mobilization money before they're asking if you have all the questions. They say it doesn't matter. Let him just go ahead and do it. This is not the normal way we do it, but just go ahead and do it. Who is receiving that prophecy? All protocols broken. They say Pharaoh sent for him hastily. Pharaoh wasn't asking whether he was a prisoner. He sent for him hastily. Go. And he said, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. You are coming out speedily. That poverty is ending speedily. That lack of money is ending speedily. That joblessness is ending before you even know it. That barrenness has been terminated before you know it. That sickness will be destroyed before you know it. Is a speedy instruction given to angels concerning you. God will say, go fetch him, go fetch him, go fetch him, go fetch him, wherever he is, go fetch him for a blessing. Go fetch him. That's how I married my wife, speedily. That was how he married his wife. When he was marrying the wife, the mother said, no. Isoko, no be Isoko, be that. Isoko won't marry Igbo. Which Igbo? He doesn't know how to cook or wash soup. Forget it. You may not know how to cook egusi soup or ora soup or wash soup. They'll marry you anyways. You are not saying amen, all the ladies, yeah? You don't know whether a Chinese person won't marry you. Say a better amen right now. They say he can't speak Chinchong Kong Ping Chong. They say, don't worry, I marry her like that. Not qualify, I promote him like that. There is what they call training on the job. You don't know the job. You don't have the experience. You are not qualified. They say, but we'll take you. We'll pay you to train you to do the job. That's it happen to people. They employ them and send them to school. I know a brother, while we are doing youth service, is an engineer. They employed him in a certain company. We have not finished service. He was a Bible study coordinator. We have not finished service. They employed him in a particular company and sent him abroad to train him on how to do the job. The company was, and while he was being trained, he was being paid. He didn't get as be you. Why they look Kelvin? It has happened to me. While I was doing youth service, they were paying me. I was not working. 1 full year. It will happen to you. Let it be to you according to your. See, I was not doing the job, but they were paying me. They send the money. They send the money. I say, how are you doing? How's your service going? I say, it's doing fine. Don't worry, relax, okay? They were paying me. I wasn't doing the work. Sending in the money from Enugu into my account. So that one is coming. I did the best youth service ever. Ever. While I was in camp, they made me NCCF music director. That means they were not going to post me inside those villages. They brought me to Ibadan. In Ibadan, we had accommodation. I already had accommodation. While there, I was driving the NCCF bus. They would pay me from this side. They would pay me from that side. I wasn't paying any rent. I wasn't doing anything with my money. I was just saving it up. This year you will know what it means not to labor in vain. And they brought him out quickly. I'm going to soon round up here. And they shaved him. I'm talking about the decoration now. They shaved him and they changed his garments. Do you catch that? Anytime you hear they talk about garments in the Bible, they're talking about a man's glory. Talking about a man's glory. This year, your garments will be changed. From the garment of lack, from the whatever garment it is you think you experienced last year, this year is not working for you. The Lord is changing it in the name of Jesus. And then they brought him to Pharaoh. You know why? Because you can't dress anyhow and meet Pharaoh. That's what I'm telling you. God will qualify you this year for those kind of people you need to meet. You can't dress anyhow and come into the palace. There is a palace code of dressing. And Joseph couldn't have afforded it. But somebody made it happen so that he can meet the king. And if you go down, the Bible says, and Pharaoh began to decorate him. Let me not go there because of it. The Bible says, and Pharaoh gave him a crown, gave him a gold necklace, gave him a new kind of wear, gave him a wife, gave him some chariots, and then said, you will be second only to Pharaoh. Pharaoh made him in charge of everything. He said, take charge of everything except my wife. Joseph became mightier than his brothers. I end on this note. I don't know what God would do in your life and you will become an instant celebrity. But whatever that thing is, words have gone forth, words of prophecy. This year, that thing will happen to you. Whatever it is that if it happen to your life now, your life will change. Somebody told me a story of a guy that was walking. Two people went to school, and after they finished, one based in Lagos and was walking all those Lagos walk, 4 a.m. to come back. He was walking through that set, and the other one came back to Warri. That guy is a Yoruba from Ogun State. The other one came back to Warri and started living his life, just normal walk, living, having all the time. After a couple of years, he said, I want to visit you in Lagos. He visited his friend in Lagos and discovered that for the 2 weeks he came to stay with the friend, they couldn't just stay. It's only on Sunday that they had time to stay together. So he left and came back and told that one to visit him. And that one came and visited him and discovered that life was more easy here than it was in Lagos. And the guy tells us, I know what you did there, they suffer. You come here, he said, eh? He said, no. So he went back and he resigned. And he came back to Warri to meet his friend and stay with his friend. And before you know, boom, 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 boom. The guy is the guy they say, Champions Cathedral? All the decoration they do in Champions Cathedral, like this Christmas now, all those decoration. This guy, I'm telling you, is the one who does it, the Yoruba guy. He came here and he became an instant success. Became rich, so rich. They connect him all the chevron, he does all the decoration. That thing that will happen to you, I say it again, that will make you an instant success before the end of this year. I don't know how it's going to happen, but my prayer for you today is that it will happen in the name of Jesus. Those individuals you will come in contact with, either home or abroad, that will cause your life to take a 360-degree shift this year, I pray you will come in contact with those men in Jesus' name. For Whiskey, it was a Banky W. For Elisha, it was an Elijah. For Jesus, it was a John the Baptist. I don't know who that name is for you. Adia bradia kakasanosa. Emakte pereteya kanda. That person that will discover you, that person that will introduce you, that person that will announce you, that person that will recommend you, that person that will stand in for you, that person that will sign for you, that person that will give you that contract. May you come in contact with them this year. Just along this road, a brother was walking. Before Kenwood, there's an open space there where they sell things. There used to be a fabrication, whatever there. They have left now. They have broken down that place. There used to be a guy that works there. Let me put this. The guy was walking one day and one man came and he did a walk. He's learning under somebody. He did a walk. The man liked it. The man said, listen, I'm going to send you to China. If you do what I'm going to send you to China and do it well, I will link you up for life. He didn't have a passport. Has never had one before. Haven't gone anywhere before. The man gave him 14 million. 14 million. Here. Sometimes what you're looking for in Sokoto is in your Sokoto. All you need is the light of God. It's not about running around. But this year you will not just run around like somebody beating the air. The Lord will order your step. Order your step. That's how that guy made it. In worry here, not in Degema. When the light of God is on you, from here he can introduce you to Lagos. I hear what I'm saying, Mumali. From here, God can link you up in Lagos. Do you know how Flavor Nabalea came to be popular? Flavor. It was in Enugu. We all grew up in Enugu. Playing in joints. And one day he went to the studio and do that. And just put it on radio. Some marketers came from Lagos to do something in Enugu, and while they were inside the car, that song was playing at the right time on radio, and Abu Ventures or whoever it is heard it and say, I want this guy. Album was not even complete. I want this guy. They took him and the album was completed. And today you hear about it. Same thing with Resonance. Chiwike. The same group of people doing my work came to do my work and heard Chiwike and they say, we want this girl. From Enugu to Lagos. Same thing with Fino. Fino from Enugu to we call Fino in Enugu Studio Rat. He was living in studios. That's his house. That's where he sleeps. Same with J. Martins. J. Martins from Enugu. We all eat aboki rice in Enugu. J. Martins. Wajay was in House on the Rock, Enugu. How did P Square link up with J. Martins? They heard a remix song he did produce for Wajay. That's how Owe came into being. They called him Link Up from Enugu to the world. Same thing with what's it called, Nigaro. Same thing with Zoro. You hear about Zoro Wagaji. What's it called? Zoro Waga. There's this guy now that is almost everywhere now. He's doing Enugu. Listen, you can be located from anywhere once is your time. I'm telling you. There are people who are in Lagos who have not been located. These guys have been located from all over the place. Rough coin, Waba.